can start with your name whenever you're ready.
My name is Elliot. I am the creator of the YouTube waterfowl hunting channel, Freelance Duck Hunting. So I was raised in a home that was really religious and Christian. My parents were, we went to church all the time. They were leaders of Bible studies, and it had been passed on to them from generation to generation. So as I grew up, just by default, I was a believer in Jesus Christ. As I got into high school, really about, I'd say, my junior, senior year, I kind of started just to have some doubts, and just the kind of doubts that it was like, how do I know that this is real? It seems like a fairy tale to me. And I just didn't go to my parents like I should have with it. And so these doubts just kind of grew inside me for about 3-4 years. And slowly they got strong enough that they kind of took over my life and completely separated me from my belief system that I had been raised in. As that happened, the type of friends I was choosing changed, the type of women I was choosing to date and even marry changed, and I found myself completely impacted in this lifestyle, this secular, non-Christian lifestyle, and I just, Jesus Christ had no place in my life whatsoever. So I got married once and got a divorce. I was in a second marriage, and my life was just, quite honestly, falling apart. And I had a moment that completely impacted my life. My second wife and I decided to go to church one Sunday, and I don't know why. I don't know what was going on that made us decide to do that. But we went in there, and the sermon was an apologetic sermon, and it was all about the mathematical probability of life arising from nothing. And it was like that Jesus just directed me into this church at this time, and my number one doubting question was answered in that one sermon, snap of a finger. And that completely changed my life forever. I knew from that point on that I believed, and I was a believer. But my lifestyle was, all my friend group and my wife, it's like, I knew that I needed to get closer to God, but I just was having problems doing it. But at least I knew that I believed in God. So from that point on, basically Jesus kept drawing me closer to Him, and long story short, I ended with the second divorce. And at that moment, I completely just gave my life to Jesus Christ. And my son Nevin and I were living in an apartment by ourselves, and I didn't even have to change my behaviors. It was just done for me. All my desires changed. All of the things that, how I looked at life and all my decision making just completely changed naturally. During that course of time, I had no doubts at all. It was about a year's time where I was just completely satisfied with my relationship with Jesus and had no doubts. But then slowly over time, the doubts started to creep back in, and it was kind of like God was saying, okay, I know that with the way that your mind is, you're a skeptic. I'm going to show you how to handle these doubts. And so one by one, different types of doubts arose, like, come on, did someone died and really came back to life? Or, how do I know that what was written 2,000 years ago is the same actual text that we have today? Just all sorts of different doubts came on me one at a time, and though that time was emotionally painful, but God taught me how to tackle those questions one at a time, and got to the point where I realize now today that there are no there's no question out there that there is not a reasonable answer for with Christianity and Jesus Christ and the words that are in the Bible. And my life from that, I have lived 2 separate adult lives from age about 20 to 35. I've lived that lifetime where I wasn't with Jesus in my life, and then I've lived from 36 to 47 where He was. So I have seen the 2 different lifestyles of what it is like as an adult to live with Jesus in the center of your life and to live with yourself in the center of your life. And I've answered all of the questions that I've ever had as far as the apologetic questions or the doubts that I had, but the best proof that I have in my life is those two time periods. I've got a 15-year block of time and I've got a 11-year block of time to compare what I am like as a person with Jesus and a person without Jesus. And that's the biggest proof that I need at all. And so, it's just, if you have questions, if you have doubts, go tackle them, search them out. Just go to YouTube and put in the question, whatever it is, and start watching some content. Watch debates between Christians and non-Christians. Don't ever allow those questions and those doubts to separate you from Jesus Christ, because I will tell you from firsthand experience, the farther you fade away from Jesus and the more that you live for yourself, the more selfish decisions that you're going to make in your life is going to show it. And your happiness and your joy is going to show it. So I would encourage all of you to don't be passive about your relationship. If you don't know if you believe in God, get in there and start getting into the question. There is all sorts of resources that you can go to answer any questions that you have. And I promise you, if you decide to give your life to Jesus Christ, you're going to see some changes. You're going to see some changes in your heart. You're going to see some changes in the way that you behave. And the changes, a lot of people are afraid of Christianity because they think it's a set of rules. It's not a set of rules. That's not how it works. It changes your hearts and you're just different. The things that you want are different. I drank a lot before my conversion. I got drunk a lot before my conversion. And that desire was just gone. That desire was gone. It wasn't there anymore. I mean, I still drink a beer here and there now and again, but that desire to just get really drunk, it's not like I was like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. That's not how it works. It's a change of who you are, and you become it, and you want that. That doesn't mean there's still some things that you don't get tempted with, because we all get tempted with things that because we're in the flesh and we're humans. But as far as your core desires, they will change. So I urge you to seek it and go find out for yourself. And I think that your heart will lead you to a place that will find you at much more peace now and for eternity. I'm really hung up on the creation and everything, the earth, and how magnificent and beautiful it is and how complex it is. And we're waterfowl hunters, and you think of from that embryo to what's migrating and every single little cell in that body and the creation of that. But beyond that, just to Jesus is grace and forgiveness. The older I get, the more I realize how horribly sinful I am. And it's the grace. Nothing is required of me that I can do other than my belief. And that is so impactful. It's so freeing. I've got to remind myself of it all the time because I'm hard on myself as a person. I beat myself up inside. I'm doing this wrong. I'm doing that wrong. And we want to strive to be better people. But it's the grace that he gives you. It is the only religion where nothing is required of you other than just saying, yeah, I want you in my life. And all the screw ups that you do from then on, you're not going to sing your way out of heaven. He gives us grace. He gives us love. It's just what it's all about. I'm Elliot Snider from Freelance Duck Hunting, and this is my rescue story.